Irrigation: The Drops of Life, a documentary by Hiba Agwani. Since the beginning of mankind, humans have tried to find an efficient way to gather food. In efforts to grow food in sufficient amounts, irrigation has played an important role in agriculture. The innovation of irrigation has impacted and even changed both plant and human life. Irrigation was first said to begin with the Fertile Crescent around 8000 BC when the first inhabitants of Mesopotamia arrived in search of new lands. The Fertile Crescent was an arc-shaped body of water that lay between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers flowing through Syria and Jordan. Because of the annual flooding and rich mineral deposits, it was extremely easy to grow a plentiful amount of crops such as wheat, barley, and rice. These crops were so abundant because they were easy to irrigate in the area. Using the Fertile Crescent was one of the very first forms of irrigation. The nomadic hunters who settled Mesopotamia soon turned into farmers and brought their families to the land of two rivers. Irrigation was the spark that lit the fire to one of the greatest ancient civilizations. Other ancient civilizations followed the Mesopotamians' idea of irrigation. The ancient Egyptians built their homes around or on the Nile and relied on its yearly flooding to easily access crops. The ancient Romans built aqueducts and large buildings and bridges. Aqueducts are a series of pipes that bring water to fields and homes to water crops and gardens. Aqueducts were used in both plumbing and irrigation. Almost all successful empires have used some sort of irrigation system. Throughout the years, irrigation has changed and advanced. Because of irrigation, more crops are grown. This not only affects the country's economy, but the environment and so much more. Using irrigation, however, can have both its advantages and disadvantages. Because irrigation allows more crops to be grown at once, a lot more crops go to grocery stores and are sold, boosting crop production. This means that farmers and supermarkets receive more money. This can affect a country's economy. Some methods of irrigation can also create better crop quality. Some advantages of using irrigation include improved fertilizer and pesticide management, warmer soils which may be able to aid to an earlier planting or harvest, and because of the variety of irrigation techniques, it is easy to find a system that accommodates the size of a field. Although irrigation can help crops so much, it can also have a negative impact. Some irrigation systems, such as drip irrigation, have a high investment cost, requires high maintenance, and the repairing of the system is difficult. In some cases, irrigation can also waste a lot of water, which is now creating a huge conflict between environmentalists and farmers. Many are opposed to wasting so much water, while farmers believe that it's okay to waste. Sure, agriculture uses a lot of water, but all of that water, if it's wisely used, goes back to the economy, according to Brian Betcher, the general manager of Maricopa-Stanfield Irrigation and Drainage District. Another disadvantage of irrigation can occur when there is a water shortage. Even though the water may be channeled off into a canal or dam, sometimes not even that is enough. Other water sources include contaminated water from sewers. Since 2000, 90,000 hectares of agricultural land in the Tula Valley, Mexico, have been irrigated with wastewater from Mexico City. The city of Lima, located in Peru, has irrigated 2,000 hectares of vegetables using urban wastewaters. Sao Paulo, Brazil, has used contaminated water from the Tietê River to irrigate vegetable gardens. In Santiago, Chile, over 60,000 hectares of vegetables use water from the city's sewage system for irrigation. Using dirty water to irrigate crops is unsanitary, and the vegetables may be unhealthy to eat. Irrigation can also harm the environment. In fact, most people hadn't realized how irrigation was doing this until 20 to 30 years ago. building a numerous amount of dams and canals have been demolishing ecosystems, thus forcing the organisms living in or even around the area to find new homes. For example, the Aral Sea in Central Asia is disappearing because water from the Amu Darya and the Sur Darya rivers were diverted to irrigating a cotton field instead of running off into the Aral Sea. Since the sea has been vanishing, over 20 different species of fish have gone extinct. Throughout the Southwest, many states have a dry, warm climate. Places like Arizona, Colorado, and Southern California often have droughts or water shortages. These states rely on canals, dams, and other forms of irrigation for their water supplies. States in the southwest region of the U.S. have created ways to store or save water other than using small canals. Arizona has the Arizona Water Project. This is a series of aqueducts, tunnels, pipelines, and pumping plants that bring the majority of Arizona's water to its people in the Pima, Pinal, and Maricopa counties. Over 1 million acre-feet of water from the Colorado River is brought to help Arizona's water problems. Another example is the Ogallala Aquifer. It is an underground water table aquifer that is one of the largest in the world. It can supply 82% of the drinking water in northern Texas, southeastern New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming, western Kansas, almost all of Nebraska, and little of South Dakota. Irrigation is used for a variety of things, although it is usually associated with water. The definition, however, clearly states that it is used to assist the growing of crops in dry areas and supply water to areas where there is an inadequate amount of rainfall. Irrigation can be crucial for places with low amounts of water, for it can be stored and supplied through canals, pipes, dams, and many other ways. People may not recognize it, but storing water through canals and dams is easily another form of irrigation. Irrigation had the power to be the first step to building numerous successful empires. It has impacted all plant and human life on planet Earth. Like anything, however, irrigation definitely has its flaws. Maybe the next step to this amazing innovation would be to minimize water usage but still maintain plentiful plant growth. The idea of irrigation is always expanding. It has changed so much over time, and it will continue to change even more.